What's going on, everyone? So we are officially in the offseason after the Los Angeles Lakers decided to lose in 5 games to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Tip your hat to Minnesota, go win the championship, so at least we can say we lost to the champions. Plus, I'd love to see Anthony Edwards win a championship personally. Big fan of Anthony Edwards, but future Laker. I digress, right? Gear up and get ready and strap in, right? Buckle up, strap in, because the Lakers offseason is about to get wild. Now, got to get through the postseason and all that stuff, but I imagine you're probably going to start hearing rumors and discussions and all kinds of stuff sooner rather than later. I think this is going to be a wild offseason full of fun, wacky adventures. And make sure you subscribe because I'm going to cover it all. For those that are familiar with the channel in the last few years, Mr. Trade Guy here. I love to explore possibilities, go down rabbit holes, players and possibilities and potential, cover all the news, talk about, kind of like, hey, here are my thoughts, here are my guys that I think, here's the news, right? What do I do? What do I always say? All I do is just take the news, give my opinion, give my thoughts, and then we break it down. So there is going to be a lot, I imagine. Every year there's a lot, right? Like for 6 months, I talk about trades and all that stuff, right? So there's always a lot. This year, I think that there's going to be more than probably ever, or at least in a long time, because you now have Luka. Lakers have several glaring needs, glaring holes. Lakers have like $60 million in expiring contracts that they can trade, which we saw, thanks to the new CBA, are incredibly valuable. Right, whether it's this offseason or at the trade deadline, Lakers could potentially free up cap space, right? Depending on how much LeBron's willing to take. Supposedly he's willing to take a discount. The salary cap is supposed to go up like $14 million, right? They're gonna have your vet minimum, stuff like that, fall off. Guy like Shake Milton, he can fall off too, because he's on a non-guaranteed deal. So you could even waive him if you wanted to or needed to clear up cap space, right? So you're going to have several key free agents that make a ton of sense for the Lakers. You're going to have a ton of trade options that make sense for the Lakers. And I think you're going to get a balance of both. I think you're going, more likely than not, to really upgrade to the level in which we need to upgrade to now get into contention. A couple trades are probably going to happen. But you're also going to need to hit on a key free agent or two. Right? You look at this Lakers team. There are the blatant obvious, like, okay, they clearly need a center, right? Really need probably two. Whether it's a Mark Williams and a Clint Capella, just kind of using them as an example, right? But if you can go get those centers, beautiful. But you're probably trading for one and signing the other, right? So you're probably trading for a Mark Williams and then signing a Clint Capella. Or trading for a Kessler or a Duran or a Claxton or whomever, right? Point is, you're probably, to get that starting caliber center, you're probably trading for that guy. Maybe you can sign a Miles Turner. Sure, there are kind of questions about, Miles Turner and just kind of, he's not really a Luka type of center, but I also think he's probably the best center available. I digress. Point is like, yes, there is a potential that maybe you sign a guy. But more likely than not, you're probably trading for one and then signing another as like a backup role, right, to get that. But the Lakers need more than just a center, right? It's not as simple as like, oh, we get a center. Like, go and trade for or sign Clint Capella and Lakers are now the best team in the league. I think the Lakers need athleticism. I think they need legit defenders, perimeter guys, right? I think they need legit two-way guys, 3-and-D guys, right? Like, the Lakers have a lot of needs and a lot of pressing needs. You saw Minnesota just dominated us with their physicality, their athleticism, their size, their versatility. This was a series in many ways of role guys. Austin Reeves, no show. Rui Hachimura was inconsistent. Dorian Finney-Smith was not what he was in the regular season. Guys were, J.J. Redick essentially lost all faith in his bench, which, again, I don't really blame him. The bench didn't really show up or show anything that was like, oh yeah, you could trust this guy, that guy, or the other guy, right? Like, at the end of the day, the Lakers' role guys failed to show up, and Minnesota's didn't. Minnesota's did show up with bells on, and they ran through the Lakers. Lakers they need bench, they need depth, they need athletes. Lakers really lack athletes. They really lack athleticism. Yes, they have athletes in the sense of like, yes, Luka's an athlete. Also, like compared to you and I, they're like Luka could probably outrun all of us, right? But for an NBA standard, compared to actual NBA players, right? Luka is not athletic, right? Like Rui Hachimura is not athletic. Austin Reeves is not athletic. Gabe Benson is not athletic. So you look at the Lakers starting five, and it's like, okay, you have no defense, no athleticism in Luka. You have no defense, no athleticism in Austin Reeves. You have no defense, no athleticism in Rui Hachimura. How are you supposed to defend? How are you supposed to do the things that you saw Minnesota do? How do you not get gassed at the end of games when you have to work twice as hard? How do you just start going down the list of things, and it's very obvious why Minnesota did what they did. And it's one of the reasons I didn't want to play Minnesota, particularly in the first round. Obviously, if you had to play them at some point, you have to play them at some point. But I wanted them in later rounds when we've kind of worked on some things and figured some stuff out. And, hopefully Luka and Reeves and LeBron and these guys have kind of, figured out what they need to figure out and gotten into a rhythm. And, unfortunately, you play them in the first round and they just bullied us. It's that simple. They just bullied us. They came in and stole our lunch money. And they did it in embarrassing fashion. Because the Lakers had every opportunity to win that series. That series easily could have been 4-1. One team showed up, one team clearly wanted it more, one team balled out, one team didn't. That simple. Right? And now you're moving in the offseason, which personally, I would rather it be sooner rather than later. Obviously, the more you advance, the better. It's better to lose in the conference finals than it is the first round, right? All of that. I get it. I'm with you. Yes. But given the circumstances that the Lakers are in and the situation that the Lakers were in, I would prefer to just get it out of the way, take your L now. It sucks. You bite the bullet and we move on and we start gearing up for the offseason. Rather than us get to the conference finals and we lose because now we finally met our match, or we get to the NBA finals and you play a Boston or Cleveland team and they just run through us and we're all standing here like, okay, right? Like I'd prefer to get it over with, because you're either good enough to win a championship or you're not. And the Lakers clearly were not good enough to win a championship because they lost in the first round and they lost in a dominant fashion. Right? Like it wasn't a hard fought 7 or, an extremely tough 6 or something like that. No, you got dominated in 5 games. Not good. Not how we anticipated this going in. Even if Minnesota won this series, which again, I said was a real possibility, I thought it would be in like 6 or 7 games at worst. I had the Lakers in 6, but obviously that didn't happen. It was Minnesota in 5. But point is the Lakers, it was clear from the moment you traded for Luka, that like, hey, this team has a lot of holes that they're going to have to mask and try to keep under wraps. And are they going to be able to do so? And so I don't think it's a real surprise. I don't think it's a real shocker. Look, I talked about very heavily how, yes, I do believe the Lakers can beat anybody. Yes, I do believe that this team can win an NBA championship. But just as much as I believe that they can beat anybody, I do think that they can also lose to anybody. And I think for as many arguments as there are for the Lakers to beat these teams, I think there were as many, if not more, arguments for these teams to beat the Lakers. And that is something that I talked about very heavily, and you saw it. And Luka and LeBron were gassed at the end of all these games. They were terrible in fourth quarters, and a lot of that is because they didn't really have the help. It's very different when, you have your role guys stepping up, hitting shots, playing defense, taking the pressure off of Luka and LeBron, right? They don't have to do everything all night, every night for 48 minutes a game, because you have player A, B, C, and D all, contributing and impacting the game in multitude of ways, and you can get stops and you can get rebounds and you got that guy, you got a Jaden McDaniels going and giving you a 25 on a random night or whatever, right? Like, that's the difference. So Lakers need a lot of things, but gear up, get ready, strap in, like I said, because this is going to be a wild, wild offseason, in my opinion. I think this roster looks incredibly different going into next season. I wouldn't be shocked if there's only like 3 or 4 guys on this roster that that are currently on the roster. I think that's LeBron, Luka, probably Bronny James, and then one of these other random guys, right? Like, outside of that, I think I wouldn't be shocked if pretty much everyone else is traded. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel with your thoughts? Agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot as we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.